And the answer from the employee was?
I don't know.
Exactly that.
That's not helpful.
I don't know is unacceptable.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep patting down waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
Dal, before we go any further with this episode, we have unfinished business.
It's true.
From last week's episode.
Yes, people have been waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, they're worried.
Yeah,
understandably,
and rightly so. Yeah, obviously. I mean, we speculated that we didn't know the condition of Contest of Challengers patron Ben Caligulus,
or his safe.
Yeah, or his safe, and their safety. All of that was a huge question mark that we absolutely did not investigate on any level. We did not make any overtures to Ben or his safe to find out what was going on. Thankfully, Ben was safe, and his safe was safe, and he sent photographic proof of life of both of them, well guarded by Masterpiece Shockwave. So Ben and his safe are both safe.
And he checked, there were no pizza detectives in his safe named Hank Howard nor anything. Mm-hmm. So that's all well and good.
Nice.
So, I mean, I didn't realize how much I was worried until I knew I didn't have to be worried anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you live with this sort of anxiety for a while and you just think it's natural, and then you find out, oh no, it's not supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
So yeah, one good thing came about because of Bad Ideas' Caligula's safe story is we did find out that Ben Caligulus and his safe are fine.
More than fine. They're safe.
Yeah.
Greetings. I'm safe owner Benhur Benedict Caligulus, and I approve the Contest of Challengers podcast. Keep reading comics.
Now, they say they're safe, but the safe wasn't wearing a mask.
Yeah. Also, I should mention this was days ago, so I mean, as of this minute, I don't know if that's changed.
Sure. But like I said, the safe wasn't wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And I had heard from other retailers that they're having more mask issues with people lately.
Oh, sure.
And today was our day.
Oh, no.
Multiple people, just no masks at all.
Wow, what?
Yeah.
Nope.
So one was I believe they were someone who was soliciting for donations, personal donations. Uh-huh. But I immediately stopped them at the door saying, you have to, if you need to wear a mask, you need to wear a mask, you need to wear a mask. And they looked up like, look, you need to wear a mask.
Yeah.
So they eventually left.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you're only going to sit there and talk to me for 3 seconds. You don't even get 1 second if you're not wearing a mask.
Right.
Nope.
And that person, I felt a little bit bad for. I was being, vocally aggressive from behind the counter.
Of course.
But they were clearly somebody who was in need.
Right.
But nonetheless.
There is still a pandemic.
But when the older gentleman came in with a younger person, younger person mask, older person no mask, and I immediately, hey, I'm sorry, you gotta have a mask. What? And then he takes the back. Do you have a spare mask? He turns to the person he's with. They're like, no, I can check in the car. So that person goes. He's like, well, I am double vaccinated. I am not.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
Also, it's not about taking your word for it. Nope.
So I'm like, look, here's a mask. I pull the mask out.
Sure.
Here's a mask. I put it on the counter. I backed up. Then he puts the mask on. And he's like, oh man, that's some pretty great ink you got there. And as he's doing it, he's rolling his sleeves up to show all his tattoos. And I just turned and walked away.
Yeah, no, not having this conversation.
And I will admit he did feel bad about it. And when he was checking out, he's like, hey, I'm really sorry about that mask thing. But I wasn't budging.
No.
I didn't say either way.
Yeah. How did he not know?
Right.
I think we've all, at this point, probably had a stress dream where we're in a place and we don't have a mask. And we're aware of it. And we get really nervous about that. Have you had one of those?
No.
Really?
I don't think so.
Wow, I've had several. I assume other people have as well. So if anybody else has, please let Patrick know on the Patreon that he is woefully inconsiderate of other people's feelings by not having stress dreams.
Plenty of stress dreams, just not about a mask.
Sure.
And I have there's spare masks, plural, in my car.
Sure. At
the store. I make sure.
Sure.
The places I'm going to be, there's masks. Worst comes to worst, take a sock off, put overhead. No. I do feel terrible that early on in the pandemic, I had to go to the doctor, and I literally got there and realized I don't have a mask. And this was before I had a spare mask in my car.
Right.
But I was also doing laundry after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a bandana in the laundry.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, I'm wearing this Stone Cold Steve Austin bandana. I feel like an idiot. But it was something.
Sure.
They learned bandanas aren't that good.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about this last week, but, it's been a long time. It's been over a year since we've been wearing masks.
Yeah.
And last week at the store, I was with Gina on Friday, and she had pulled her mask down to take a drink. And I'm like, whoa, your face. Like, I haven't seen it in so long. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then there's Andrew, who we've never seen his face.
No, it's true.
We hired him. That's how, we hired someone without even knowing what they look like. Because we're not about appearance.
Uh-huh.
We're about knowledge.
Yeah, I don't see lower parts of faces.
Yeah. And
I
even
don't see
though
that.
Andrew is our youngest challenger and the newest challenger, we realized today that he's been with us for 7 months now.
That's a lot.
Yeah, he's on his second time card.
Crazy.
Right? That's what spurred the whole thing on.
Sure.
And while he's still new to us and young, his knowledge runs deep in the comics vein.
Mm-hmm.
In that I was looking to reorder some facsimile editions because we have that spinner rack of budget comics. You know?
Like the dollar comics and the reprint stuff
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah.
So I asked him to be at the spinner rack, and I would yell out, "Hey, do we have, X-Men #1 facsimile edition?" And he would look and say yes or no.
Sure.
But I'm not used to somebody who has a Silver Age knowledge, So
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, do we have Amazing Spider-Man 101? It's where Spider-Man has 6 arms. He's fighting Morbius." And he just yells back, "Yeah, I know what that cover is." All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Because he'd worked at a shop that was a little bit more back issue focused. So they
Sure.
have those board books. And if you've ever been to a back issue focused comic shop, i.e. not Challengers, you're familiar with the high priced vintage comics that are behind the front counter. And every store has the same Amazing 101 and Uncanny 94 and Giants has X-Men 1 and on and on like that, where it's the same key issues that are in every shop in the country.
But it was neat to be, I'm sure if you just gave me the titles and issues of all the facsimiles I was looking at,
Yeah.
I don't know that I could do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some ones
Uncanny 266?
First Gambit.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
right.
First Gambit in quotes, because
Yeah.
that's one of those where it's it could be that one, or it could be 267, or it could be X-Men Annual 14, and it's...
But he's on the cover of that one, at least.
He's on the cover
With Baby Storm.
with Preteen Storm.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a fun thing. If... we're looking at a True Believer's Amazing Spider-Man with the first Black Cat. I know that cover well. I don't know the issue number.
Yeah, for sure.
238. That's a guess. I have no idea. We're going to look now. I remember buying that original comic at a Jewel Osco off a spinner rack.
Oh, way off.
Yeah?
194.
Oh, wow.
Amazing 194.
Okay. See?
Who is this mystery woman scurrying with cat-like grace across a precariously thin strand of wire? Why is she here above police headquarters? What is she after? You'll learn soon enough, Spider-File. But for now, be content with the following warning. Never let the black cat cross your path. Marv Wolfman, Keith Pollard, Frank Giacomo.
Nice. I can do that in Invincible Iron Man. It's 149 because 150 was their big through time King Arthur one.
Doom Quest.
I have no idea what issue of Incredible Hulk has the first Doc Samson.
Yeah, no. I mean, a lot of that stuff, I am not as fond of those franchises as I was the X-Men, so...
Sure.
Calling out issue numbers or what's this covered, I never collected those Hulk issues or those Iron Man issues. I probably never even read those comics because I just didn't care that much about that part of their history.
Hey, Dal, speaking of X-Men...
Patrick.
Bunch of X-related announcements this week. In the X-Men universe.
Kind of make a DMX reference, but then I'm like, I don't want to
Guy.
I don't want to do that.
Don't do that. Okay.
I didn't do that out
Pause
loud.
for your Prince Philip joke here. I guess I'll edit that back in later.
What are we editing back in?
Well, since you made a DMX reference, I thought you'd do a Prince Philip reference as well.
You didn't really set it up for me. You just kind of said tell a joke, and I just that's not how my brain works.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. X-Men related news. Was there? Was there really?
Have you not heard?
I don't think so.
Well, we got an email from a subscriber.
Oh, right. But that was from a while ago.
No, this week. Oh, my goodness.
Well, because they said, like, on sale now, and then they were... Well, I guess, yeah, maybe it was this week.
Well, let me be the one to tell you this.
Patrick.
Jonathan Hickman is done with X-Men.
I figured that part out.
21 is his last.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, because it sounds like they are moving to Jerry Dugan and Pepe Larraz.
With a brand new X-Men #1.
Yeah, which, I mean, to be honest, the way the story was trending recently was... There is not an actual X-Men team on Krakoa because that is seen as being a divisive name.
Right.
So, because Cyclops and Jean Grey and Storm are... Well, Cyclops and Jean Grey, and then maybe Storm, I think, are forming their new X-Men team, at which point there was a vote that fans could vote on the final member.
Right.
That'll debut, I think, at the Hellfire Gala, maybe, or Planet Size X-Men. It seemed like X-Men was going to have to transition into being literally those characters. So it makes sense that Jonathan Hickman would be like, I did all this stuff, setting up all these plot lines. I'm going to hand the team book now over to somebody else. And Jerry Dugan's the guy where, I mean, Marauders is one of their bigger hits, and that's a book that seemed like it was not on anyone's radar.
And also, it seems like it's been building up to the Hellfire Gala, so it would make sense that it transitions afterwards.
Yeah, and I mean, on that same timeline, so there's the X-Men 1, Jerry Dugan, Pepe Larraz, which of course means Pepe Larraz for a couple issues before they rotate out to Mahmoud Asrar or Ken Lashley or Brett Booth or whoever.
Okay, please don't put Mahmoud Asrar in that company.
I'm just saying he's a guy that's been in the mix for a while.
Sure, but he's
better than the other two.
He's an A-lister in my brain.
He's better than I'm saying that's the order they're probably going to go in.
Okay.
You start with Pepe Larraz, who's like their guy.
Yeah.
Like he was the one doing Planet Size X-Men with Jerry Dugan, and the point that Marvel made was Pepe Larraz is drawing this. It doesn't matter who's writing it. It matters. You need to be reading it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's your launch guy, and then, you know, Mahmoud Asrar is your second guy, and he's good, and he's talented, but he's not a guy who's necessarily going to sell books. And then, after that, you get Ken Lashley, Brett Booth, and whomever. Although I say that, but, like, Marauders pretty, not quickly, but eventually transitioned to Stefano Caselli, and he's great.
Yeah.
He's great. The other book that was on that timeline... I think launching in August, maybe? Because I think X-Men 1 is July. It's the next catalog.
It's June.
Is it June?
It said... No, I'm sorry.
It's July, because June is
because we're
Gala.
ordering now
Yeah.
for June.
Yeah, June is Hellfire Gala. July is X-Men #1, Jerry Dugan and Pepe Larraz. August was a book that the title was classified, but the creative team was... Leah Williams and Valerio Schiti.
Yeah.
Which probably doesn't mean great things for Sword's art team.
No.
Considering...
Or great things for...
Considering in 4 issues...
X-Factor.
In the first 4 issues of Sword, Valerio Schiti did 3 of them.
Yeah.
So that alone is not great. Which means that he's probably going to be doing like 4 of the first 6 or 7 issues. That's fun. I can't imagine X-Factor's going away because, I mean, Leah Williams can write both books. I mean, maybe Marauders goes away because Jerry Dugan's doing X-Men, but honestly, maybe not. Maybe Marauders just keeps going. There's no saying that you couldn't write multiple books. That's what writers do at those companies.
But Cable's done.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Cable seemed like one that had a limited lifespan. 10 or 12 issues.
I mean,
that's plenty.
It is a Marvel comic. They all have limited lifespans.
That's true. But I mean...
Marvel doesn't go for longevity anymore.
Yeah, but...
As evidenced by a brand new X-Men #1.
Cable in particular seemed like it was built around one creative team and one kind of storyline they wanted to do. So I wasn't expecting it to go farther than the Strife storyline that they're telling right now. And then there was a third book that's coming out, I want to say, in September. And that is the one that Jonathan Hickman is writing with an artist, and the title is classified. I have kind of a guess for the artist.
Yeah?
Because I think it starts with an A.
Okay.
I think it's Alan Davis.
Huh.
I'm going to take a guess and say it's Alan Davis.
Okay.
That seems like someone Jonathan Hickman wants to work with, based on him being one of the giant-size X-Men people.
Yeah. The least good giant-size X-Men.
Yeah, but what the story is and who it's going to be about... There's kind of 2 ways you could go with it.
Captain Britain.
Probably not Captain Britain.
That's all Alan Davis does, isn't it?
No. There's two ways you could go with it. One is just another kind of World of X-Men characters sort of book. I think it's the Moira book, though.
I mean, hopefully. But didn't they always say that somebody else was writing that book?
Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah. And we thought it was Al Ewing.
Remember when they announced, like, Kelly Thompson was doing some book?
Yeah.
And then, like, with Carmen Canero, and then all of a sudden it was just like... Or Carmen Canero was drawing it, maybe? I can't remember. It was, like, those creators or something, or half of those creators. And then it got announced in, like, a letter column, and then never anywhere else, and that was a year ago. That was pre-Ten of Swords. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the Moira thing, maybe because it's probably setting up what their next year's crossover is going to be. Which I think is probably going to be... I think you eventually have to start addressing the Moira stuff, because it's been 2 years now.
Yeah.
Since that character's really been shown in any books.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's maybe time
and
to
she has an
bring
action
that back.
figure.
She does have an action figure. The Hasbro did a Hasbro Pulse online convention today where they showed off a ton of stuff for all their different action figure brands. So for Marvel, they showed off the HasLab Sentinel that they designed the box for. Pepe Larraz did the artwork for it, and it looks gorgeous. The box is massive. That figure is way bigger than I thought it was going to be. And they also teased their next HasLab Marvel project, a Fantastic Four one.
Is it the Baxter Building?
They did not say what it is, but, I mean, how many things do you think it could possibly be?
Well, like, they've done a Sentinel before, they just redid it.
Right.
They've done a Galactus before, they can redo them.
They're 100% going to do Galactus.
Yeah.
Like, I would be shocked if it were anything besides Galactus, because they don't really do playsets and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, a Baxter Building or whatever, like, you could maybe do that.
But that was a joke, FYI.
No, honestly, like, that's one of the... I wouldn't say it's a theory, but it's definitely a possibility. It's a big thing from that franchise that you could make a figure or a over $200 item from.
Yeah, I bought the original, very large Galactus Marvel Legends.
Sure.
And I got rid of it because I did not like it. It was all like the ball joints were too ball jointy, and it just it wasn't a good figure. But I'll buy a new one if it's better. But I've never felt the need to have a Sentinel. You know.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this when HasLab was doing the funder for it, because you buy a lot of Marvel Legends figures and you're just like, I don't need a Sentinel.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind, though, this is a crowdfunded thing, so you would be paying retail price for it.
Yeah.
That said, you're going to get a ton of stuff with the theoretical Galactus figure. Like, you're going to get a Galactus. It's probably going to come with a Silver Surfer.
I mean, I hope it's a scale Silver Surfer.
As a stretch goal. Like, they'll
like
probably
it'll
do
be
that.
like one of the 3.5 ones.
Maybe. The
375.
The
375.
HasLab Unicron came with sort of to scale hot rods and Galvatrons, and they are smaller than a penny. They are tiny, like, one-color plastic figures that you can plug into, like, parts of his exterior or have him hold in his hand.
That's cool.
So maybe they would do that. Galactus, I don't think you need to go that small, because, you know, Galactus is big, but he's not planet-sized compared to characters. You know?
Sure, yeah.
But they'd probably do, like, different
heads. If I get Galactus, he has to fight Unicron.
They'd maybe do, like, light-up eyes, or, like, Omega Effect-style I-beams or whatever. Like, all that sort of stuff. You can see them potentially doing with the Galactus. I assume that, like, a stretch goal would also be, like, his world-eating machinery.
Sure. Obviously not his ship, that's too big.
No. But, like, the little, like, driller thing that he puts on him.
The thing that looks like Rom's translator.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there wasn't even a silhouette. It was literally just like HasLab, the number 4, and then the previously released Fantastic Four figures in the background.
Huh. Well, they do have all the Walgreens exclusives, so they could all fight.
That's true.
Always fight. And the Silver Surfer.
You saw the other stuff that Hasbro announced today because you ordered it.
So they showed an Iron Man wave, and I think it's an okay wave, but the really disappointing thing is that the Ironheart figure is 1 per case.
Yeah, that's dumb. While the 90s Iron Man is, I think, 2 per case.
He's the 2 per case. Yeah. He's called the...
Modular suit.
Modular, yeah. And there's the stealth...
Which is weird, because when they said that, I'm like, oh, the David Marquez armor. Nope.
No.
That was the something else modular armor. This
was
the one where
not
he could
Dave Hoover. Who was that? Who did that?
I think you're right, it's Dave Hoover.
Dave Hoover? Okay.
The one that he could just plug stuff onto himself.
Yeah.
That's the modular part.
A holographic Iron Man. Stealth Iron Man, which I think is actually pretty cool. I've always liked that. It's just your classic Iron Man suit, but black.
He comes with a Tony Stark head.
Comes with Tony Stark head.
Which I guess could theoretically go on, any Iron Man, probably. I don't know how that works.
A guardian, or guardsman, a guardsman.
Yeah, the emerald sort of suited henchman figures.
But, you know, theoretically good guys, but not necessarily.
Yeah, but usually getting beat up by heroes who needed
Sure.
to fight them for some reason.
A Dark Star.
Yeah, who comes with, like, 80% of Ursa Major.
Yeah, Ursa Major is the Build-A-Figure,
Uh-huh.
which looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it just looks like a giant bear. It's fine.
But, yeah, it's, woof.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of Iron Mans in the wave, and they're mostly suits where it's like, oh, not a favorite.
Oh, but also Ultron,
Yeah,
but specifically a George Perez Ultron.
yeah,
And he has the George Perez energy effect that you can put into his mouth.
yeah.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, from that wave, it feels like, unless you're making Ursa Major, Ironheart, maybe 90s Iron Man, if that's what you grew up with. And, like, that feels like sort of it for the wave. Like, it feels like a lot of junk figures.
For me, it's Ironheart and Stealth Iron Man.
And, like, Ursa Major, I don't know if he's that big a deal. Like,
No.
again, he just looks like a giant bear, which is cool if you like giant bears.
It
Like,
also,
that's great.
it's not the normal iteration. The normal iteration of Ursa Major is, you know, a bigger, fatter brown bear.
Sure.
I love the Jason Aaron Ursa Major
I like
iteration,
that,
but
this figure, though.
here he's like a werewolf bear.
The head does have, like, the kind of mask on it, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Where they do the rings around the eyes. I think it looks okay. But it's still... I don't know if it's the sort of character where people are going to be like, I gotta get 7 figures to build him.
Yeah.
Especially when the 7 figures are, like, Dark Star and, like, 4 different Iron Man suits.
I did a case,
I saw.
and then a
Because we already
case...
probably have them on order with
And that's the
So,
point.
yeah.
In a case of
Ironheart.
Ironhearts. But, I mean, I assume we have them on order? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
We ordered everything for the next year, well, through October of this year, but we didn't know what anything was.
Right.
So,
I mean, they probably said it's an Iron Man wave, and we just went, okay, we'll take this many cases because
Yeah.
that's what we get for Marvel Legends.
Yeah.
Did you order? I didn't know if it was. I don't remember if it was up on Diamond site. The Eye of Agamotto.
yeah, I did that through Southern Hobby a while ago.
Okay.
We got a case, which is 2.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't like it.
Really?
As a prop person, I don't like it.
I mean, it's the MCU version. Is
Right.
that why you don't like it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I
But
think
yeah,
it's a
we'll
great
have-
price for what you get.
We'll have 2 of those. And I ordered a full case of those Thors because I didn't see them offered singly.
Yeah, he's only. Wait, what do you mean? You didn't see him singly?
I mean, I didn't see you could order like onesies.
No. Yeah. It's just a case.
Yeah. But he wasn't part of a wave.
No, he's a single boxed figure.
Okay.
That's why he gets to come with so much crap, because
Sure.
he is his own price point. He comes with Stormbreaker and Mjolnir. He comes with energy effects. He's also a slightly bigger figure.
Are you calling him fat?
I am calling him Bro Thor because that is apparently his official name now.
I see. That's, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Fine. It is still the kind of thing, it's like, I don't know what we have on order.
Right.
And whenever we get a lot of emails from Funko.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just, here's one thing, here's one pop in an email.
Right.
But the thing I hate most is, hey, we're going to be releasing a whole bunch of figures in the next couple days, and that's just the email telling you there'll be new figures coming.
Here are the franchises that we're going to be offering figures for.
And they had their big,
unhelpful.
their non-in-person Toy Fair thing back in February.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're getting all these emails. Hey, we mentioned these back in February. You can order them, or they're available for sale now. Or it's like, you already talked about this, or whatever.
Yeah.
And the Diva ones from today, I sent to Steve David, who responded right away, yes, please. Like, I was just showing you those,
Yeah.
but, like, I literally don't, we haven't,
I can't remember if I talked to Kent about these. I feel like I did, and he was not that thrilled.
I don't know that he's a pop vinyl person.
No, but he's such a Devo guy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's,
And I mean, Devo Pops is kind of on brand for Devo.
you're a big Transformers person, but you've never done Transformers pops.
But, like, the irony of Devo being a pop is kind of perfect.
Yeah.
In a way. It's like doing, like, an Andy Warhol pop. You
Sure.
know? It's like, oh, sure, yeah, okay.
Which I'm sure they've done.
Probably.
Why not?
But that's the thing. Like, it's so appropriate that you're like, yeah, that's what else would you do? But no, I'm not a big enough. The thing with Transformers is there's so much merchandise
Yeah.
that it's very easy to say no to different things. But the characters that I have in pop form, beyond gifts, like the ones I've actually bought for myself, are ones where there's not that much merch. So I buy what I can of Gwenpool because not everyone's making Gwenpool stuff all the time.
Yeah, right? And I have gotten rid of so many pops that I've bought that I'm like, I don't need these. I got rid of
Yeah.
all my Doctor Who ones. I got rid of all the Good Place ones. And it's bad enough that I'm like, I'll get every Captain America pop because they keep making them.
Yeah, forever.
I think I had one of the original Galactus ones and I got rid of it. And like, oh, the 10-inch one comes in next week. I'll get one of those. Like, wait, I don't actually want that. I would much rather have the large action figure.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they're making, even if it's not this HabLab version,
Eventually.
they're going to make, like, there's money in a 16-inch tall, highly articulated, well-sculpted Galactus figure. They can sell that thing for $200 or $300. It's fine. So Transformers have their brand panel at the Hasbro PulseCon.
You'll be extremely surprised to know that I didn't even look at what those were on the Diamond email.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we ordered all those from Southern Hobby a year ago.
Okay.
And even if we didn't, I don't care. The big announcement for the Transformers part of the Hasbro PulseCon convention was a auto-transforming Optimus Prime figure.
Okay.
An actual, like, a robotics company.
Sure.
Made one that can move and transform on its
like,
own.
I've seen people have made those, and they're pretty cool.
Yeah, this is... I mean, I can't remember how tall he is, like 16 inches tall or something.
Okay.
Lights and 80 different voice clips and sound effects. Guess how much he costs?
$2,000.
Only $700. So good
Okay.
news, you could get 2 of them and still have money left over.
Right. Almost 3. Is that a thing Dad wants to get?
No, because... I mean, beyond the price point, like I just spent like close to that on Unicron, and that's as much as I kind of ever want to spend on anything.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be way less
including
than that.
Healthcare.
Yeah.
Including
rent, you name it. Yeah, it's not the sort of spend I want to do on a regular basis, and the bigger problem is, like, part of what's interesting about Transformers to me is the kind of puzzle aspect,
Yeah.
Like, when Unicron shows up in his gigantic box, he's in planet mode. It's your job to turn him into a robot. So there's a part of the process that you can take ownership of. This is an Optimus Prime who, for lack of a better phrase, plays with himself. You hit a button on your smartphone, and he turns from a truck into a robot. Okay. It's like, why not just watch a video of it then? Like, I mean, I'm sure it's cool to see it in person, and if I was someone who had a limitless budget, yeah, sure, I think that'd be neat. But, like, I feel like in about 2 minutes I'd be like, I'm tired of this. And I can't even pose him, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's full of mechanisms.
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
He can't be as articulated as a regular toy because he's full of servos. I don't know that for sure, but I can't imagine that's not the case.
I was trying to, as you're talking, think about what would I pay for a mechanical thing for part of my fandom? Mm-hmm. And I decided, in that very short span, that I would absolutely buy an electronic dematerializing TARDIS.
Like, literally disappearing?
Yep.
So we're not even talking about things that actually could exist in the world. You're just talking about, like magic now.
No, it uses its dematerialization circuits.
Okay.
And then you have the app on your phone, you push it, and then it reappears, having been somewhere else in time and space.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that seems like worth owning just on a basic physics level.
Yeah, except for the fact that you can't go with it.
Still. If I know I'm sending something back in time or something, Jesus.
But you don't know. It just dematerializes. It could just be there, dematerialized.
Okay.
I'd still buy it, though.
Sure.
I mean, if it was the $700.
Sure.
That seems fair to me.
Okay.
Would I buy a life-size robotic K9? Probably not, no.
Yeah, because it's very limited in where it can go.
And what it can do, yeah. I mean, I bought a remote-controlled Dalek years ago and never, ever played with it, and then it broke by itself.
Yeah.
By itself. My ultrasonic rat deterrent also broke.
Yeah.
Like, it just
or
doesn't
was
work
sabotaged
anymore.
by rats.
Oh, man.
Who knows?
You know what? I haven't examined it. It could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
What if the wires got chewed through because they figured it out?
Oh, man.
Big trouble.
Huh.
Once they learn how to take apart chicken wire, you're done for.
Yeah, right? I was planning on when the weather gets a little better, because it's going to get a lot colder this week.
Colder, not a lot colder.
Taking out that, but I mean, not like conducive to staying in the garage.
Not spring weather, that's true.
Disassembling that chicken wire thing, because I need an oil change.
Yeah.
That's blocking it all.
Yeah.
And then I got to figure out a different place to mount that stupid rat thing. and you think, well, if it doesn't work, why do you want to mount it? It's because I don't have the energy to take the engine apart to get to the battery to disconnect the wiring for it.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just mount the non-working device somewhere else in the engine.
Yep. That sounds like a good idea.
Man, I had it, and this is, so I'll say this briefly because it's unfair to mention on a podcast where we talk about how open and honest we are with our listeners about our business, but for the past period of time, I know that's very specific, I don't know, month or so, Dal and I have been working on very, very adult things in regards to running our business as a business.
Yeah, finances and things like that.
Yeah, and we have a long way to go, but ultimately, it's not stuff that will, like, it's not like, oh, we're working on a secret surprise signing. No, we're just trying to better structure our finances as a business entity.
Yeah, this is just us surviving as people. This isn't anything that anyone in the store would ever notice. It would never impact store business. Yeah.
So I had a ridiculous idea of a thing that I would do that is car related, but just to alleviate all of my car issues.
Sure.
And I'm not talking about it now.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, oh, if some of this stuff comes through, here's a thing I would love to be able to do.
Sure.
Knowing full well it is financially irresponsible to do so. It may just be a thing I decide, no, it's worth it.
Are you also getting Kamen Rider figures? Yeah, no, I think I know what you mean, and I think it's probably worth doing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's...
I can't say that it's possible to do, but I think it's reasonable to do.
Sure, okay. There we go. I appreciate that that phrasing.
Yeah,
that
let me clarify my position on this. Yeah. You have my support, you don't necessarily have my help.
And it's a weird kind of thing because when people are like, hey, how's it going? What have you guys been doing? Nothing we're going to talk about, but something that requires all of our brain power and
a lot of kind of last minute, oh, can you do this real quick? I can, but that means I can't do other stuff.
Usually in the wee hours of the morning. Aren't you a little surprised we haven't heard anything since yesterday?
A little surprised, but that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer it.
Yeah, it's hard to, on one hand, say, we're doing all this work, and then be like, why haven't we heard anything? Like, I will appreciate the silence.
Yeah.
For just a little bit.
For sure. For sure. So, you know who's not silent?
Who's that, Patrick?
Bad Idea fans.
Oh, are they?
Now, look. No, you look.
You look. You listen.
This is all from... There's a Bad Idea fans Facebook group. And
that's not a surprise.
It's horrible.
That's also not a surprise. You said Facebook.
And I know, but it's a thing that I'm like, I need to get out of this. But I feel it's necessary to... For being a Bad Idea store, I think it's necessary to check in.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk today about the pins. Not the button, which is a whole different thing. Whole different Bad Idea hoop that we jump through. But the first-in-line pins that they've been sending out for ENIAC and now for tankers.
They call those pins, but those are buttons.
They're buttons.
They are buttons. Yeah. They have a button back.
Right.
It's not a pin. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But we say pins because the button, the Bad Idea button, is a different thing.
I just say buttons now.
It's fine. It's fine. The gold buttons, and I mean, they're just cheap things, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, I was first in line.
Right.
Okay. So... It has caused such uproar and outrage to the people that don't get them. And specifically, there's a store with a retailer that we've been friendly with, but have never met.
Okay.
On the West Coast. And we've given them advice on some signage.
Okay.
Things like that in the past. Multiple times. So the long story short is, well, the button is... And forgive me, I'm not looking at it. I'm not looking at the rules in front of me. But it was my understanding that the stores were sent the button in advance, in theory. And they could give it to the first person who waited in line to buy the book on the first day, or the first person that pre-ordered it, or some other what have you.
Okay.
But nowhere... does it say you have to?
Right.
Now, this store specifically gave it to one of their biggest customers, who's also a Bad Idea person.
Sure.
It would be like if we took the button and just said, "Oh, hey Charlie, you're a big Bad Idea fan. You can have this.
Sure.
Hey Frank, you can have this.
Sure.
You know, what have you."
Right.
Somebody that, you know, we're still giving it away to a Bad Idea purchaser.
Yeah.
But long story short, somebody waited in line, found out that there is no button because it was given to a different customer.
Mm-hmm.
And now the number of people saying that store violated the terms of service and they should be kicked out and they don't deserve it. And those buttons go for $1,000 online. And if you took $1,000 out of my pocket, I'd be angry at you. Like, you know, first of all, this stupid little thing, the stupid little metal thing, is meant to be a fun keepsake for whoever earned it.
Yep.
But the entire marketplace is looking at it as a thing to immediately sell for. You don't want to, but I dare you to look up what these buttons go for on eBay.
I'm definitely not going to do that. Yeah, I mean, it's the hero trade thing all over again.
It's exactly that.
Hey, this is a fun thing. It's not a fun thing. It's $1,000. It doesn't even matter what it is. Again, people wanted Bad Idea comics shipped to them pre-slabbed. It's just money. Yeah. It's just a value. It doesn't... For a lot of folks involved in this, it doesn't have anything beyond a monetary value.
But I hate the idea of a company still doing this when you're making literally everyone else feel left out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem when you do anything that's dividing haves and have-nots, is that have-nots don't love taking it.
Yeah.
The bigger problem with a lot of this promotional stuff is that essentially Bad Idea is writing checks that stores have to cash.
Yeah.
Bad Idea gets to come up with all these things, and the stores are the ones who are like, having to enforce rules and having to tell people no and having to do all this stuff, and Bad Idea gets to be the one who's like, the fun weekend dad, and like, the stores have to be like, the hard-assed weekday mom, who have to make sure that like all of this stuff actually works out, and
Bad
all
idea.
These things.
Your fun weekend dad of comics.
Yeah. I mean, they get to come in and be like, oh, it's all fun stuff, and the stores are like, no, you have to do this, or you have to do that, or I can't let you do this. And, like, that's kind of the overall problem, is it makes Bad Idea seem like they're doing fun stuff, and the stores are being assholes for keeping people from doing it. And I don't just sell Bad Idea books. I gotta sell everything else. So if I'm pissing off people who come in for Bad Idea stuff, and they don't come back, not only they're not going to come back for Bad Idea stuff, they're not going to come back for sales, they're not going to come back for signings, they're not going to come back if they're looking for a book that their local store doesn't have. I'm going to be the asshole who told them no.
Right.
And it's like, that wasn't my goal. Like, I did not set out to create a situation where you were going to have to be told no, but this is the situation I'm in.
All right, let me give you a hypothetical.
Okay.
I'm a customer. You're behind the counter.
Okay.
You're Dal.
Hi.
I come in 2 days ago on Wednesday, and I'm like, hey, I thought Jonna and the Impossible Monsters #2 came out today.
I'm sorry, we didn't receive that.
Oh, so it came out and you didn't get it?
And I would check in the system and find out. And am I finding out that it did come out and we didn't get it?
No, it comes out on the 21st.
Okay, and then I would tell somebody it comes out on the 21st.
See, that's perfect. Someone had an experience at a different comic store where they went looking for that book, and the person's like, oh, we didn't get it. And they said, did it come out and you were shorted, or you just didn't get it? And the answer from the employee was?
I don't know.
Exactly that.
That's not helpful.
And I thought, I don't know is unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have taught most people who have helped us out at Challengers how to check different distributors' databases to find out, A, if a book came out, and B, if it didn't, when is it coming out. I mean, the number of times I've had to tell people when the current release date is for an issue of TMNT The Last Ronin. I mean, across 2 issues, it's probably been at least 100 times.
Sure.
Because it's constantly moving.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the last time I checked it was the last Wednesday in May, but I don't know if that's still the case.
But I want to say that that's one of our philosophies. If we can't give you the book you want, we can tell you why.
Yeah.
And I just felt like... and then that specific person thought, like, wow, you know what? Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm being... Like, I'm someone who keeps up to date with all this stuff, but I got it wrong. Maybe it's my fault. Like, running a comic store is hard. Maybe I'm putting too much pressure on the employees. And I thought, no, I don't know is a shitty answer.
Yeah, it's...
Now, granted, there'll be point, like, what if, there were 5 people behind me in line with stacks of books to be rung up, would you still stop and look it up?
Maybe. Or at least I would tell somebody, like, hey, I'll check for you, but can you hold on a second?
Sure. Yeah.
Like, you try and find the best solution. If it's somebody that you can make wait for just a minute, I'd probably be like, let me look it up, because it's the same register. Like, you're on a computer. You just go over to Chrome and you go to the Diamond site and you find out when it's coming out. And it probably would take you I mean, it would take you or I less than 30 seconds to do that. So it's not a huge deal. But if you have people who are waiting in line way too long, or people who you don't think can handle being told, hey, can you hang on 30 seconds while I answer this person's question? Then you tell the person who's asking a question, can you just step to the side for like a couple minutes and I'll be right with you.
Yeah, and I'll check into it for you. I'll look it up.
Yeah. And if they don't feel like waiting, then they don't feel like waiting, but at least you did your job.
The only times I don't is if their request is too vague and I'm not sure what they're asking for, or it's a book I've never heard of.
Sure. I mean, there's been times, the general thing that I'll be like, I don't know and I can't give you an answer is like, when are you getting more Pokemon cards or something else? Or something we've been allocated for a collectible card game. When are you getting more of this? I genuinely don't know. It's going to be on a Friday. I don't know if it's going to be a soon Friday or a never Friday.
Yeah.
Just call us on a Friday and we'll let you know if we have it. Like, that's the best I can do for allocated card games, is they'll show up when they show up or not.
We had a subscriber email this morning saying, hey, do you know when you're getting this book I ordered? And I had to say, I don't. We ordered the book back on this day. It hasn't shown up yet. I mean,
that one in particular, it was damaged. And I told them it was damaged and it needs to be replaced. We don't know when it's coming in.
Okay.
And that was a week ago that I told them that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they're just getting impatient with it, where it's like, did it show up yet? Like, it needs to be replaced. Like, it's going to show up when it shows up.
I remember seeing that one, that specific book.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way today after answering several people and then realizing, I'm giving them half answers. That for anybody who wanted to add Batman the Detective today, or like a pullbox user said, hey, I can't find it.
Right.
That's because it's Batman the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Batman Dark Knight, not the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But the people that I signed up for it today, if you sign them up for Batman the Detective in the system, it signs them up for 2 and 3. You got to sign them up for Batman Dark Knight for number 1.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, so it's like, I gave Mike Love a long answer because he's like, hey, can I get number 1? I'm like, you can't just get number 1. I got to sign you up for the whole thing, and it's a different title and blah, 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 blah. And then later I found like, oh no, I could have literally just signed him up for number 1.
Sure.
But I mean, it's a good book.
Did you make sure that everyone who's down for Dark Knight is copied over to Detective now?
Didn't.
Okay.
Didn't think of that.
Okay. We definitely need to do that.
Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah. I didn't realize that because I don't do DC initial orders or DC FOCs, I didn't realize that they had switched it in the system like that.
I mean, I just learned today by looking in the system.
That's really dumb.
Yeah.
That's a really dumb way for Diamond to have done that.
Yeah.
Usually they'll just, like, it'll be Batman Dark Knight, but the series code hasn't changed, so it'll just be pulling Batman Detective 2 and 3. And then eventually you can either change the series title in your system or not.
Did you get a chance to look at the email that I sent you from the president of Comics Pro about the conversation with PRH?
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's promising.
It is, but I mean, it didn't feel like anything earth-shattering.
Sure. No, I know, but it's progress.
It is some good data points, though, for sure. I mean, they have qualified people working on the PRH team, and they have an awareness of needing industry-specific knowledge and skills, and they're going after those people, and that's great.
I thought it was an amazing fact that the people in their warehouse, people that will be working at this warehouse, have been working for, on average, 19 years.
Yeah, when what we heard from the Olive Branch warehouse for Diamond is
turnover is quarterly.
Rapid turnover.
Yeah.
Because it's just a bunch of, like, warehouses and shipping facilities and an office park, people just move from warehouse to warehouse, and so the people you're hiring are like, they don't know how to pack comics, they know how to pack auto parts. And you have to train them in how to package comics because they need a different level of care.
But here's why I'm still concerned for Penguin Random House. We got in an order today, which is basically a DC reorder, which is it wasn't a huge order.
Yeah.
It was maybe 35 books.
Yeah.
That's not a large order at all.
They're getting a little bigger, those DC orders.
Sure.
More DC books are selling. I don't know why that is. It's
one box, basically.
Yeah.
Packed so badly that 7 of those books were damaged to the point that I considered them unsellable.
Yeah. Which is tough to do for a graphic novel. We talked about that before.
Yeah. And we talked about how during the pandemic, we know there's less staff. They're overworked, things like that.
Sure.
So there's weekly, you and I look at a book and go, yeah, it's damaged, but it's fine.
Yeah.
We'll let it go.
It's good enough.
These were bad. And sure, they'll replace them, but now we got to wait a week more to not have these books in stock.
Yeah.
And it's it's very frustrating. And I
sure.
emailed her up. I'm like, hey, and I should have said, I know you can't do anything, but look, this is literally 20% of our order is unsellable.
Yeah, and I wouldn't start with, I know you can't do anything, because then it's just like we're complaining.
Oh,
like,
I didn't. I mean, you saw the email.
Right, but I mean, you wouldn't want to say that, because then it's just like, I'm just venting, and I need you to know that. It needs to be a thing of like, you should talk to someone. Like, pass this along to the warehouse. Like, they need different procedures and policies to keep this from happening, because it can't keep happening.
Also, I will say that I think that their shipping boxes are flimsier than Diamond's.
Sure, yeah.
They're thinner cardboard. We also got a Diamond box in today that was also packed poorly, but nothing was damaged.
Yeah. I was surprised that you had... So, were you giving her the list of books that were damaged just to let her know what was going on with this? Or had you already done the damage
No, I didn't,
report?
because there was no...
There is.
Okay.
I'll have to show you on Tuesday how to do it on the Biz site.
Okay.
That's how I did it last week when there were 4 damaged books.
But the point was there was no pick ticket in this box.
Oh, you don't really need it.
But I needed to check it in. I needed to know what that should have been in the box.
Right, but I mean, you could... what I'm saying is you can go to the Biz site and look at the invoice.
Okay. I looked at the confirmation emails, and I was able to print out a list of the titles, but it didn't give me any quantities.
Right.
So I assumed all the quantities were correct.
Okay.
A text from Mark Tower just came in, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
But yeah, I mean, if there's damages, there's a way to go into the Biz site to just click on and order.
Okay.
And then you can just go item by item and go, these were damaged, this was damaged, this was damaged.
Okay.
And then just reports automatically.
Well, I mean, I did specifically say, hey, please replace these, so hope that they know to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
but
that part's all done. I'm just saying in the future, if you didn't want to send her a message, literally,
right.
There's a way to just...
No, I would much rather do it on the Biz site, because I don't want to have to type out all those ISBN numbers and...
I wouldn't either.
Everything. But speaking of ordering, here's another question I have for you.
Okay.
I have... now that we are doing the majority of our... I was going to say TSR books. That's not TSR.
No.
Wow. I'll still say it. Our TSR books...
From Chessex.
through SNS. I made up a list.
No, PRH.
Oh, is it PRH?
PRH is WotC, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure.
Okay.
You made up a list.
Of things I would like ordered this week.
Okay.
Because there's a bunch of, like, the book... We're not out of anything, but we're down, like, stock is low.
Sure.
And then I'm in the process of
honestly,
building up...
you could just do it. I mean, I don't think they really have much in the way of minimums. And we're not paying shipping, so you might as well...
Okay, well, see, that's... I thought it was Simon & Schuster, and I thought that I had a prepay.
No.
So I was giving you the list.
I don't know if that's the case for Simon & Schuster, because they basically said to us that we are not prepay, and yet I haven't seen any of the stuff that we ordered from Sunday.
So it's real funny.
So I don't know.
We got an invoice today.
Yeah.
With a, hey, you owe this much from this order, please send a check, blah, blah, blah. They already cashed that check weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Funny.
Why am I getting a thing now?
Yeah.
You're. I'm like, wait a minute, I know this amount. So I looked up, I'm like, nope, it's from this exact order.
Yeah.
So I just filed that away.
But yeah.
But also Little Golden Books.
That's also PRH.
Okay. So you don't care if I go in and...
Okay.
I don't think I've used the new site, though.
Oh, okay.
But there's a login and everything.
Yeah, I mean...
And it autofills.
Yeah, if you want to leave it for me, that's fine. But if you want to do it, it's not...
I mean, I'd much rather do this stuff as it comes up.
Yeah, it doesn't save us any money to wait to do it till Sunday.
Okay.
Because of the way that billing and shipping works.
See, if it was Simon & Schuster, when they, like, to pay it once, I would rather, hey, we'll do this as one order. But
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so the Golden Books order is still being tabulated. I had Andrew write down everything we were out of, like, under 5 copies of.
Sure.
But I still haven't gone through it.
Okay.
But I did, because, we did, as you saw, we did the facsimiles and some True Believers, and then I did another Sun Hobby order, which you saw that. Mm-hmm. There's also a bunch of stuff in our cart, so we'll definitely have an order this week.
Okay.
They're out of half of the things I wanted, including bags, including top loaders, including any type of cart. Basically, anything Ultra Pro, they're out of.
Yep.
Which, I'm sure it's not their fault, but it is incredibly frustrating.
Incredibly frustrating.
Yeah. But there'll be some Transformers next week as well.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
And some other type of toys that I think...
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if those are for anyone specifically or... Okay. And some more Deadpool pops and some Marvel Zombie pops.
Okay.
But we had to get some more dice and some random other stuff.
Sure.
But part of it was... And a couple, we're getting like 2 other Magic sets. Mm-hmm. Just restock.
Sure.
Just some stuff. But yeah, today was a good day to... Like, what are we out of? I'm also going to, in the next week or so, do another Poster Emporium order.
Okay.
We're at a point where it's like we could probably fit 60 more posters in there.
Okay, great.
It's just time, and now that we don't even worry about inventorying them.
Yeah, I mean, what I would maybe look towards for the next Poster Emporium order, and obviously this is all dependent on what they have and what licenses they have.
Yeah.
Maybe more anime stuff.
Okay.
Like, we get a lot more requests for a lot of the hotter anime properties.
Sure.
And manga properties, and we usually don't do a lot of those. Like, if we did a bunch of My Hero Academias, we'd probably sell them. If we did a bunch of...
I feel like by the time Poster Emporium gets a license, it's too late.
Maybe. But we've had those before. We've had My Hero Academia ones.
Yeah, sure.
Right away.
Okay, that's fine. I'll look through there.
Yeah, the more current Viz style stuff, I think, would
since we can't get the actual books.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably do some Dragon Ball ones if they have them, because we get people asking for Dragon Ball stuff all the time.
Okay. So I read The Good Asian this week.
Yeah.
By the writer of Infidel, Pornsak Pichtoto. I heard him say his name, and I'm like, oh, I've been saying it wrong forever. Mm-hmm. And I got his first name wrong as well, but it's close. But we were saying Pornsak Pichtot, but it's 3 syllables.
Okay.
Anyway, I read the first 3 issues of The Good Asian, and I loved it.
That's great.
It is a new genre. It's Chinatown Noir. If you were, it is an Asian American detective in the late 1930s in California, and it is a gripping detective story, but also focuses on the way Chinese immigrants were treated in America and how they looked upon. Yeah. Which is the same way Infidel was a really good horror story that focused on xenophobia.
Yeah.
And the quote I've been using, which I fully give to Image to use, is The Good Asian is as good of a detective story as Infidel was a horror story, and Infidel was a great horror story.
It really was.
So it's so good. It's a 9-issue miniseries. I've read the first third now. It's really good. It's the artist was the guy who was doing Outpost Zero from Image. Yeah, with Sean McKeever, but his art is definitely evolved.
Cool.
And I love it. Like,
covers are by Dave Johnson.
And they work. First 3 for sure.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, man. I gotta say, there are so many great books coming out that I'm super excited for. I even posted in the Comics Pro forum that 6 Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton and Good Asian are exceptional books, and I'm very excited for them. Time Before Time, really good. Marjorie Finnegan, I forget the temporal criminal, super fun. Like, it seems to go in, it's a roller coaster. It fits in spurts of things that, like, we can really rally around and be excited about.
Yeah, that's great.
And, yeah, love it. Just, oh, man. 6 Sidekick we raved about forever 2 weeks ago. And 1 or more employees have read it and loved it as well.
It's so good.
So it's not just us. In Good Asian, I mean, 100% up my alley.
Yeah.
All I read, like, in comics is detective stories and crime fiction and things like that. So this was made for me, but it's still a gripping drama that also has an underworld criminal element, not vampires fighting werewolves.
Oh, well, I'll read it anyway.
Yeah. Really excited for that. And this is a point where, man, I still haven't looked at the new previews.
No?
I still haven't, I'll be honest, since the pandemic, there have been 2 months where I never got to it and just used your recommendations.
That's fine. I don't circle everything, because oftentimes I'm like, I don't need to circle this Patrick knows to order.
Sure. Well, there you go. It's just like, you know,
it was in the last...
Time is different now.
I think it was in the last catalog, not the current one, because I think it's coming out in May. But Graphics is doing a younger reader's graphic novel that is... I could not believe it when I saw it.
Yeah.
It's basically a kid who loves, like, this girl who loves Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
Whose friend moves to a new town and she can't, like, talk to her as much, so she gets on her bike and rides out there. And, I mean, it's a fake Kamen Rider thing. They call it, like, Shinpei Rider or something, which means, like, I think it means, like, Secret Rider.
Okay.
Or it means Mystery Rider
instead
of Masked.
Masses, okay.
Kamen is Masked Rider. So this is Mystery Rider. And I genuinely could not believe that Graphics, a huge kids publisher, like, bought this book that's about like a little girl in Kamen Rider. I'm like, how is this possible?
You're like, that's me. I'm that little girl.
I am a little girl who likes Kamen Rider. Yeah, so that was pretty impressive. And I for sure circled that as like, nah. But I don't know if you got my weird desire for it in my circling. I don't know if I wrote anything next to it.
I don't recall. Maybe it's in the current previews?
I think it was in the last one.
Okay.
I can always double check and like I can up the order tomorrow. Or
you should ask Andrew the difference between Ultraman and Kamen Rider.
I don't need to ask Andrew that. I know what the difference is.
In his mind.
In his mind? Oh,
yeah.
His opinion? Okay, I'll ask him. I mean, they're both not Power Rangers, so I'm sure he doesn't care as much about them.
He didn't even bring that up.
No? He's a Power Rangers kid.
I know. I can't remember how we were talking about Ultraman. I was talking to Daniel Warren Johnson today about wrestling figures. Because I wanted to show him that
Liger figure?
The Liger figure.
His debut outfit.
Yeah.
Which, I got to be honest, as a costume, not great.
Dal, 35 years ago.
And I get it. Like, I mean, in the history of his career,
yeah,
if I was a fan of his, of course I'd want like the earliest, ugliest costume. But just someone aesthetically who's used to like later Liger,
sure,
where it's way better designed and way
There's
more.
There's no
iconic.
horns on that one.
This one's just like,
I'm not ordering it because it's $66.
It's like the thing before he gets like the Rocky surface, and it's
when he
more
was
just
all
like muddy.
lumpy. Yeah.
Ugh, no. But
sure.
if you're a huge Kirby Thing fan and they made like lumpy Thing action figure, you'd be like, I gotta have that. But for someone who's not as deep into that, you're just like,
actually, you know what? I think I would.
You would buy a lumpy
thing.
I would.
You would. Yeah,
of course
for
you
sure.
would.
Because I really like the Thing figure they put out.
Uh-huh.
And like a lumpy version, that would be great.
Would you buy a stretchy Mr. Fantastic that's in his like suit?
No,
before they got the costumes?
I don't like the like if they,
where like he's just like the suit, the tan suit or brown suit is like sculpted plastic.
But like, could he have a lab coat over it?
No, because he would he'd be in just like his street clothes.
So wait, like this is
but
they got their powers.
But the limbs are stretchy and pull out.
Yeah, no, I don't like the stretchy figures.
Okay,
but I mean, I would like the early days street clothes version of those characters.
You prefer that?
Sure. I mean, I would prefer it, but I would
to stretchy.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I don't. I mean, what? It's still street clothes.
It's
still
true.
the same thing,
but it just does less.
Yeah. Well, no, I assume that they would have snap-on extra arms like the newer ones did.
Oh, okay.
You could pull the arm, change the arms.
I see.
It's a longer arm,
like Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, or like Mr. Fantastic had. Yeah. I believe he stretched before she did. Thank you.
Don't know if that's true.
Well, if you get into my dematerializing TARDIS, you can't control it, so you have no idea how
What
to...
even is time?
Time is a thing that we just passed virtually an hour of.
Oof.
Do you have any other things you would like to say to the people that listen to this podcast?
I don't think so.
Huh. Feel like there should have been. I don't have anything specific.
You just feel like we're overlooking something?
I feel like you're overlooking something. I feel like
Maybe?
I brought everything to this.
You did. You always do.
I even said, have you heard about the X-Men books? You're like, no. Let me tell you all about them.
Well, I thought there was further announcements, and I didn't realize how recently that screenshot that somebody had sent us was from. I just assumed it was from like a few weeks ago, and we just didn't see it. Because I don't get Marvel emails.
Yeah.
And like the Marvel mailers we get are never like breaking news. It's always just
I
catalog stuff.
I don't get Marvel emails either. We get the same thing.
Yeah. And so unless the Beat covers it, because it's the only like comic site that I follow, or it's big enough news to bubble up to like Polygon or the AV Club.
Another order was placed.
Yay.
No, I don't like it when it's in the middle of the night.
Boo!
It's waiting on me to get to it.
Boo.
The two today that came in back to back came at the perfect time.
Did they? That's
Loved
good.
it. It's like, oh, okay, I'll do these orders
Plus
now.
they were small.
Well, I mean, I don't like that, per se. And plus, we had to say, oh, we don't have this book you're looking for.
Sure.
So here's what I did for that. You can tell me if this is acceptable.
Uh-huh.
So...
Tell me what you did, and then I'll tell you the way to do it.
Okay. So, for the people listening.
Yeah.
This person ordered number 1 and number 2 of Radiant Black, cover A for both of them.
Yep.
We were out of cover A for number 2.
We only had cover B.
The system thought we had one left. Mm-hmm. We didn't.
Did you change the quantity in the system?
Well, this is what I'm getting to.
Okay.
So, rather than change the quantity of the system, So I emailed them and said, hey, do you want cover B instead?
Yeah.
And they said, sure. So I pulled down the work order, so it populated both the things they wanted.
Right.
Then I scanned in the new book, adding that to it. Then I changed the price in the transaction of the one we didn't have to 0.
Okay.
So it would still pull it out of inventory, but no one gets charged.
Okay. So you pulled a copy out for cover A and cover B because we didn't have a cover A and you sold a cover B.
Yes. Is that satisfactory?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
The other way to do it is basically on Shopify. You can
go in and change the quantity.
Well, no, I mean, you would edit the order.
Okay.
So basically what you do is you would go in to edit the order and you would tell it, we're not selling this one copy of Radiant Black number 2 cover A, and then you unflag restock item on website.
Because otherwise it would repopulate it, and that's...
And then you would add an item, which was Radiant Black number 2 cover B, and the prices would offset, because you'd be refunding X amount and then charging X amount, so it would just close out the order. And then you would go into RMH Manager and just change the quantity on issue 2 cover A to 0.
Sure. I feel like mine saved me a little bit of work, though.
I think it's the same amount of work, you're just doing it in different places.
So I just, on the pick ticket, I crossed off cover A, wrote cover B.
Sure. Which you wouldn't need to do, because what it would spit out would just be
fine.
a different order. And that's what I'm saying. Like,
also, it didn't print the picture for that one. While there is, like, you know how it prints the little covers? It did cover A, or issue 1. It didn't do issue 2.
How weird.
Which, it exists in the system. Like, you can see it on the screen. Which is how I knew, like, no, this is not the one they asked for.
It just didn't print it.
Didn't print it. It was so weird.
That is weird.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, I assumed because of the way they asked for it, they just wanted the book.
I'm glad that's the case, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, so I wonder where that one went to.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't even, that's why I brought it up. But every time I'm doing something like that, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a little workaround. Then I think, what about the near future if we have to get new POS? All this changes.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to do any of that.
Yeah,
you'd be changing it on Shopify, and Shopify would be our point of sale.
Oh, so there we go.
So that's one of the positive things about potentially streamlining our system so it's just Shopify.
Yeah.
Is that you don't have to worry about how RMH communicates and having 2 different inventories that need to be synced up by a third program. You just have one interface with one set of data.
Yeah, one interface would be fine if that's if
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's like how Andrew says every week, like, any news on Penguin Random House? Like, no, man, this is October. We'll know.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully before we'll know what we're doing. But,
yeah. They have, I think, at least 2 months before they need to start soliciting orders for anything.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while.
It's the August solicited stuff.
But I think,
solicited, he said.
But the thing is, I want to say they're doing graphic novels and stuff before then.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a catalog, and then before that there's going to be, these hardcovers, and then these soft covers, and then the catalog.
I want to say that it's the end of this month we'll start ordering
Okay.
their graphic novels. Yeah.
I thought it was the end of May.
Okay, maybe it's the end of May. It's definitely the end of a month.
It's whatever day TMNT The Last Run in 3 comes out. So sometimes between the end of May and never.
Okay, but what about 4?
Ugh. Don't get me started with 4.
I won't. In fact, I'll get you ended. Thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.